Photography is not an art in the same way as painting, sculpting, drawing, ceramics, music, or writing. The reason is simple. None of those previously mentioned arts have a machine that can manufacture the end result. Painters can't buy a mechanical brush that you touch to the canvas and have it create an image. The pencil or the typewriter, that is the keyboard, doesn't have a button to activate them. Even musical instruments that have become increasingly more malleable through computer-generated sound beds and pre-recorded offerings don't produce anything good without a creative hand. So why is photography described as an art? Well, honestly, I don't think photography is an art, at least not when it's made by beginners. Let me explain that. Photography has been disruptive to the art world since commercial cameras became available. The main income for tens of thousands of portrait painters was completely taken away by the neighborhood photographer, who with a few months of training could produce wonderful portraits. The first mass-produced cameras appeared in France in 1839. It cost about 400 francs, which is about $2,000 in today's money. That's quite a bit. It came with instructions, chemicals, and metal plates to produce daguerreotypes. Now, the cost in today's money to have your portrait taken in 1842 was about $80 to $190, depending upon the size of the picture and where the portrait studio was located. Daguerreotypes were quickly replaced by tintypes, like these taken of my grandfather, his brother, and their mother in 1902 at the Cliff House in San Francisco. They weren't nearly as good as daguerreotypes, but they were inexpensive. A set of 4 taken in a single exposure with a special camera cost the equivalent of $5. The photo process advanced quickly, and with better quality and declining cost of cameras and materials, images got fairly inexpensive. Ambrotypes became the popular process in 1850 and remained the most popular process until glass plates emerged in 1900. That's why daguerreotypes are so rare. You know, in the local gold rush towns of Sonora, Jamestown, and Columbia, there were at least 30 commercial photographic portrait studios in 1905. Ambrotypes and paper prints made from glass plates could be colored with oils to display pretty colors and rosy cheeks in 1905. A postcard-sized portrait could be bought for about $6 in today's money. To the best of my knowledge, there was only one professional portrait painter still operating in this region back then. His name was Walter J. Green, and in 1906 he became the leading photographer in Tuolumne County. So why am I giving you this history? Because the impact of the camera changed the direction of painting, and in the process created an enormous market for landscape and impressionist paintings. So the camera didn't really kill painting. Even with the advancement of the camera, there was no way to make an enlargement. Photos were limited to the size of the negative. Likewise, color photography was still a distant fantasy. People that could afford color-painted portraits, scenes, and interpretive art were still paying for it, but the market was shrinking. Only the best painters survived. So let's fast forward to photography in 1930. High-quality cameras, sensitive film emulsions, and the ability to enlarge photos made photography more competitive. Top-notch photographers and lighting technicians raised the bar. The enormous exodus of Jewish talent from Europe to America created the Hollywood film industry and the beginning of commercial photography that displaced illustration in popular magazines. Again, a machine replaced the talented artist, in this case the commercial illustrator. Things went along steadily in photography, but cameras got better, easier to use, and less expensive. By the year 1987, digital cameras began to do to the commercial photographers what early photography did to the portrait painter in 1880. Now people can take a decent image with a cell phone or a simple point-and-shoot camera and share it in moments anywhere in the world. A constant tsunami of photos pour in for news stories from around the world, and news agencies pay nothing for them. In 1988, a company called Adobe came out with an image editing software. I was lucky to have one of my studios in San Francisco when that was being developed. Adobe developers, principally Thomas Knoll, came to my studio and observed every step of my photo manipulation process and paid me to test the new software. Now, at the time, we were creating highly stylized images with many layers of film. Now, these are film images that you're seeing, all produced before Photoshop existed. I was given a steady stream of the latest Apple Macintoshes and the newest versions of Photoshop. An Adobe technician came to work at my studio a few days a week, and my name and my studio name, Visioneering, appeared in the opening screen of the very first version of Photoshop, along with several other contributors. By version 1.0.7, our names were gone. So fame is fleeting. But those years of collaboration taught me that every photo can be improved with Photoshop. There are no exceptions. Aside from true photojournalism, which can be tested for any sign of manipulation, the tool of Photoshop should be used liberally. Now we're coming around to where we started. Is photography an art? Well, in the hands of a well-trained and creative photographer, it can be an art. And this is truer now than in 1880 because the vision of a talented photographer can be realized more effectively with modern tools. That art can be used for any purpose, from personal vacation pictures to web pages for companies, big and small. Well-conceived digital photos can be used for research, medical documentation, dramatic portraiture, news gathering, political movements, decoration, and many other purposes. My job as a teacher is to give students control over the machine that records the image. When students come into my class, they're almost all point-and-shoot photographers. They depend upon the camera to do the work. Over time, I shift the responsibility from the machine to the mind. After a couple of semesters, most students can envision what they want to say with their cameras. This transition of picture taker to picture maker uses the technique of pre-visualization. That's seeing the image in your mind's eye before any picture taking takes place. It's a giant step in getting photography closer to painting, drawing, sculpting, and writing. In the film era, it took me at least a full semester and sometimes a full school year to get people to produce a quality image with any consistency. Darkroom work is tough. Only after the technical hurdles were conquered could the pursuit of artistic endeavors like composition, perspective, and messaging begin. But now we can introduce those topics right away. Artistic knowledge can be gained right along with technical skills. What's more, I can cover these topics in a very condensed manner through the use of videos. By refining the lessons to a tight script and using cutaways to show locations, subjects, and techniques that books fail to do, students make extraordinary progress. Because the videos are easily accessible by cell phone, students can view them as they do their assignments. It's like having the instructor standing next to them. They can repeat sections as many times as needed at any time of the day. There's no note-taking required, and every student gets the same information every time they view that video. So let's face it, instructors have bad days. They forget important details, and students can be inattentive or absent. But video delivery conquers all of that. The issue is that the videos are time-consuming to create, even the simple ones. The upside of that is that they can be used again and updated as needed. That's why my approach relies heavily on videos. At least half of my delivery is done as pre-recorded programs that I've done a week or two in advance. Students appreciate that. They also enjoy seeing guest speakers that would have taken considerable effort to bring to the classroom in person.
Hey, this is Raj from the UK, and hello to Professor Lund's photography students in Columbia, California.
This will make it look like an explosion's going off right by your characters.
Kaylee Greer. She is at the top of her game for animal photography, specifically dogs. She's got a new book out called Dogtography, and you can follow her, go to her website, see all kinds of great photographs in her gallery on dogbreathphotography.com.
Hello to Professor Lund's photo students. I am Kaylee, dog photographer extraordinaire, and I just wanted to pop in to encourage you to think about getting out there and lending your talents to the adoptable shelter animals at your local humane society who need you so much. By helping them tell their stories through the power and magic of photography, you have the ability to give a voice to an animal who has no voice to speak for himself.
So in summary, photography is beginning a new life. It's going to continue to be a quasi-art form, overused and mishandled by billions of people. But for those folks that gain an understanding of the technical skills and the ability to pre-visualize the images, it will be a powerful tool. Careers will be launched, wealth will be created, nations will be built and destroyed, and evil will be exposed, and joy will be delivered with photography. So I want our students to be part of that process. Thank you.